I help people looking for greater life insight find their purpose, passion, and prosperity by discovering their highest life's purpose, even if they don't believe in astrology. A question I'm often asked by my clients is, what is Jyotisha Vedic astrology as life insight? Jyotisha, a Sanskrit word meaning insight into yourself, is a transformational system of self-development that enlightens you to your life's highest purpose. It gives you life insight, helping you make right choices at the right time according to a right perception of who you are in your highest light. It relies on the belief that you have a purpose. You have a mission to accomplish and a set of characteristics to accomplish it with. Jyotisha just turns the switch on. Where it was once dark, now you can see. Based on the ancient astrology of India, Jyotisha translates the way the sky looked when you were born into a meaningful life script. It uncovers the role you've been cast to play within an unlimited field of possibilities. By revealing the meaning behind your life story, Jyotisha is called the Eye of Veda, or the most authentic way of seeing yourself. In its original context, Jyotisha forms part of a complex system of self-knowledge which is called Veda, another Sanskrit word meaning to see the underlying knowledge or truth of life. And know thyself is the guiding principle of the Vedic way of life, which begins with knowing where you fit into the larger expanse of the universe. In the Vedic context, the word astrology as a modern stereotype is quite misleading. Jyotisha as life insight is not meant for fortune telling, but for healing the deepest cause of why you suffer from disease in life by your misplaced self-perception. According to Vedic philosophy, all life's problems can be traced to misperception. Jyotisha helps correct how you may be misperceiving your life's possibilities with self-insight. It provides you a map to show you where you need to go to feel most fulfilled in life, because what you can see, you can achieve. Having a proper vision that's appropriate to the goal is absolutely essential. If you know the goal of your life, you can determine the appropriate steps to achieve it. You can see it clearly. Right self-perception is essential to living a successful and happy life. This is because you are what you think. Your self-perception determines what you think is true about yourself. By not having a proper vision of yourself, you base your thoughts, speech, and actions on what you've been told or expected to believe about yourself. You may think, for example, that something is true about you that isn't, like you're lazy. Based on that misperception, a whole set of thoughts, speech, and actions arise that lead to an unpleasant outcome. You never accomplish anything. So what you think determines what you'll affirm in your speech patterns. Your speech, in turn, provides intention for your actions. If you think you'll never be a famous writer, for example, because you never believed it was possible, you'll use words like, oh, I'll never, or I can't imagine. Your words will actualize your self-belief, and you'll never achieve your life's most authentic calling. Take the case of my client whose mother convinced her early on that she could never earn a living as an artist. So instead of following what she felt called to do, my client spent her entire career miserably working as an accountant. But according to what she was told to believe, she should have been happy because she enjoyed a very lucrative career. Yet while she earned a lot of security, she felt unfulfilled. So when she neared retirement, she'd felt she'd wasted her life and wondered about her life's purpose. In consulting her Jyotisha natal chart, it strongly indicated, however, success in art, and that clicked with her. She felt validated that her inner calling wasn't wrong after all. So she shifted her self-perception to what she knew and felt to be true. I am an artist. Confidently, she started showing her paintings in high-end galleries and earning steep profits. She received support of nature. Her mother was wrong. Jyotisha as life insight gives you an accurate view of your own core competencies. And by lining your speech, actions, and thought with the highest possibility shown in your natal chart, you'll gain the right mindset to be successful according to your own life's path. As self-insight, Jyotisha doesn't reveal anything that you don't already know on some level. We're all born with an innate sense of knowing who we came to this life to be. But in the process of receiving external messages of value from our families, society, and culture, it's easy to lose sight of yourself. You forget who you are at your core. Jyotisha just helps you to remember why you were born. By directing your self-perception to your highest purpose in life, you can be assured of genuine success that's your birthright to achieve and express. What's your natal chart in Jyotisha Vedic astrology? What's meant by the natal chart? According to Jyotisha, your natal chart is a snapshot of the way the sky looked at the exact moment and location of your birth. It shows an arrangement of stars and planets, a pattern. Interpreting what the pattern means is the art of Jyotisha as life insight. To interpret the meaning of the sky's pattern, Jyotisha associates symbolic qualities with the planets and stars to qualities in you. Like characters in a play, the planets and stars tell a story about your best attributes and how to use them. They unveil the hidden secrets of your very nature, those parts of yourself that never change, nor should they. They teach what you're meant to learn from your obstacles. They present you with the conundrum of how your most bitter enemies can be your best friends. Most of all, they reveal the deeper purpose behind those things that cause you the most pain, and yet define the ultimate meaning of your life. By revealing your highest life's purpose, your natal chart is a powerful tool of self-reflection and transformation. First, it gives you a rare opportunity to witness your life objectively. Most of the time we're caught up in ourselves. We rarely turn our attention within. Instead, we're driven to look outside for our self-definitions. But looking at your natal chart turns your awareness instead back on yourself. You're given a pause in your story. And this break opens the space for a broader vision. You can see more because you're not attached in that moment. You can let go of preconceived notions about yourself and others in your life, and you can discover how you may have been misled to believe things that aren't true or could be interpreted differently. This change in awareness is called Jyoti, or life insight. Like an aha moment, the shift happens suddenly. It's such a slight difference in perspective, yet its effects are monumental. Life insight is a quantum leap, which we misunderstand to be something huge. Instead, it's the one small thing that changes your life. One of my clients experienced the quantum shift of life insight. She always believed her father didn't love her. He was gruff, cruel, critical, and whatever she did in life, he'd put a negative spin on it. She dreaded the time she'd have to go home for a visit. And while that was hard enough, her feelings about her dad interfered in other areas of her life. She had very low self-esteem and struggled in her intimate relationships with men. Her natal chart showed a tendency for a difficult paternal relationship. My client believed she was a flawed human being who wasn't worthy of any love, and I don't blame her. She had no other way of seeing herself in light of this very painful rejection. Like most of us, she'd been conditioned to view love from others' experience instead of from how she is uniquely patterned to experience love. And since her father's way of showing love didn't match the socially defined version, she believed he didn't love her. and since she perceived herself as unlovable, she suffered dire consequences in all the areas of her life. Yet, her natal chart provided life insight into how she was destined to receive love from her father and what it meant for her life's highest purpose that could offer her some healing. Her natal chart showed all her dad's qualities she was familiar with, but it also gave other ways of looking at them that she'd never considered before. By shifting her perspective, she could see beyond his rough exterior to a soft-hearted soul who actually loved so deeply he found it too difficult to express. Seeing him more clearly, she could then reinterpret his behavior in a much more positive way, and instead of rejection, she received his harsh words as love. Just by looking at her life objectively in her natal chart and making a slight shift in perspective, so much changed for her. She no longer felt unworthy of love. She gained greater confidence. Her relationships improved. And though he's still critical as hell, her dad actually hugged her on her most recent visit with him. Life insight helps you see beyond what you may have been misled to believe is true about your life, when there actually is a higher possibility. And just seeing it liberates you from false beliefs to what actually may be true about you. It lays out the pattern of your success in life, and most importantly, it changes how you perceive your value. Physics tells us that just by the very act of watching, the observer affects the observed reality. Jyotisha extends this to self-observation. How you see yourself, or what you choose to see, results in the reality you experience. Mostly our culture, education, and relationships condition our vision of reality. You see yourself according to those standards of value instead of who you are most authentically. This is called perceptual blindness. It's theorized that because you've never been conditioned to see something, you won't see it. The popular example of this comes from the movie What the Bleep Do We Know?, in which the Native Americans, based on their perceptual blindness, weren't able to see the Portuguese ships upon their arrival because they'd never seen them before. And there's some truth in this. When they could turn their attention to something they hadn't seen before, yet was right in front of them, they expanded their vision of reality. It's the same with life insight. Your natal chart presents you with other ways of seeing your life that you may not have considered before, yet are part of your nature. And just seeing it, your whole reality changes to match that vision when you think in alignment with that vision. When you speak in alignment with that vision and you act in alignment with that vision, the consequences of your actions manifest that reality. Do I have to believe in astrology to benefit from Jyotisha Life Insight? Jyotisha as life insight isn't like religion or culture that requires you to believe in something other than what's true for you. You don't have to believe that you're connected to the planets and stars. You don't even need to know all the technical knowledge behind its complexity. Nor does it support status quo models of conformity when evaluating what will make you happy. It doesn't set a standard of success that applies to everyone. Belief is a powerful force. It's how your mind is conditioned to see the world and act according to that vision of reality. Belief is based on a value system that creates your world, and there's no better place for your beliefs than in your own highest potential. Believe in yourself and you can achieve miracles. Life Insight validates your most authentic qualities so you can believe in your higher self. It turns your attention within so you can decide what's true or not true for you. As a system of self-referral that requires self-validation, Jyotisha as Life Insight is simply a method to help see yourself more clearly. You alone verify if the interpretations of your natal chart feel right to you. Whenever I meet with clients, I often ask them, Is this true? When describing the qualities of their natal chart. This question turns you within to discover the answer for yourself. Instead of saying, "You're an optimist," I ask you to observe if that's right. By giving you a range of possibilities, Jyotisha helps you to decide what you'll choose to believe instead of what you may have been led to believe that isn't working for you. One of my clients, for example, was dissatisfied with her job. She was working as a massage therapist and feeling really burned out. It was also physically taxing work and she was getting sick. She needed to do something else but had absolutely no clue what it was. And interestingly, her natal chart showed she could excel in neuroscience. When I asked her if she'd ever considered going back to school to pursue a career in science, she lit up. She'd worked in a lab in college and loved it, but hadn't pursued any studies since. And she assured me there was no way she could pursue an advanced degree related to science, let alone neuroscience, because she hadn't completed any of the prerequisites to be admitted into a graduate program. But there was something about the possibility that intrigued her, that strangely felt right. She decided to believe in this part of herself and see what would happen. She discovered she could apply for a master's degree program in Portugal that didn't require the same coursework as in the United States. Almost effortlessly, she was accepted and given a scholarship as an added validation. 2 years later, she graduated with a Master of Science degree in neuroscience, was working in one of Europe's leading research labs, and had been accepted for a doctoral program. Jyotisha didn't give my client something she didn't already possess within. It just showed her how best to perceive her life's possibilities and apply them. It was up to her to decide whether she wanted to believe in them or not. And she, like many others, found that when she based her life's decisions on what may have seemed like a crazy idea to everyone else, but felt right to her, she succeeded in discovering her highest path. Your highest path is what makes you feel most happy and fulfilled. And by revealing where to place belief in yourself, Jyotisha is the secret behind the power of right intention. What's the secret power of intention, according to Jyotisha Vedic astrology? As life insight, Jyotisha helps to focus your intention on a more uplifting and purposeful outcome. While it's well known that we possess the power of intention, it's still a mystery why things don't work out even when you intended for it with all your might. You may have really wanted something, giving all your intention toward it, only to never get it. Or maybe your intention paid off and you got what you wanted, only to regret it. The problem with intention isn't that you don't possess its power. It's that you don't know where to direct it to make it work for you. Jyotisha Life Insight reveals where it's best for you to base your intention on an accurate perspective of your own highest life's purpose. If you base what you want on what's actually possible and fulfilling for you, not only will you achieve it easily, but it will satisfy you also. My client once struggled with the failure of intention. For her entire life, she wanted one thing, to be a mother. She put all her attention toward having a family of her own. Unfortunately, her intention didn't work out for her. She went into early menopause and it was impossible to conceive her own children. Yet when she aligned with what was possible for her, which her natal chart revealed was a strong indication for success in adoption through foster care, she was given 3 newborn babies the moment she and her husband were certified. And all 3 have been adopted. My client achieved her desire for a family effortlessly. You have a path that's unique to you. If you could just see it in its highest expression, you could achieve it, because seeing is achieving. When you wed your intention with your life's potential, you co-participate in fulfilling your life's plan.